Okay, so we've created our new accounts report, tabular report. So we'll click into it. And like I said before, this is a very basic report. It's like an Excel spreadsheet. It's just a list of records and a list of columns, which are fields. So let's go into edit and we'll make something that's a bit more useful. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this type filter because it's not particularly useful and we've already seen what that does. So now we have all the records that we have before. So what we have here, if you'll notice on the left-hand side, we have the columns, which again, we can add any of the fields that are available on the account, and those are the column fields. What we have up here is group rows. Now, you can search for a field here if it's not already on there, or in this case, I'm going to drag and drop. So the first thing I'm going to do is drag type up here. So now you can see all the records. We still have the same amount of records that were there before, but they're now grouped by type, and it shows you how many of each type we have. So any records with a blank type, we have 2 of those, and then it gives us the individual lines. Customer direct type, we have 7, and it gives us the individual lines. And customer channel, we have 4, and it gives us the individual lines. So that's pretty good. This is more useful than a list because it kind of gives you an idea of, like, if you have different fields, how many there are in each field. But let's say we wanted a bit more information. So we know that we have 7 customer direct and we have 4 customer channel fields. But what if we also wanted to group it by billing state and province, but we wanted to keep the type? So we can drag it up here underneath type. And now what you can see is we have, again, 2 records that have no type, and then these are the individual records and what state they're in. We have 7 records that are customer direct, and these group all the states. So if you had some that were in multiple states, they would show up here. And again, with customer channel, we have one that has no, we have 4 records, one that has no state, one that's in California, one that's in Kansas, one that's in Oregon, etc. So this is pretty useful. This is much more useful than a tabular report. The other thing that this gives us access to is once you have a summary report, you can create a chart. So if you click on the upper right hand side and we click add chart. So this is going to give us, again, this is by type because it's going to pick by the first grouping, which is type. So we have this many that we have 2, 7, 4, as I said before. If we click on the chart properties, you can change the type of chart. We can have a column chart, a stacked bar chart. And this is useful because we've got 2 sets of information. So again, it shows us that we have 2 overall records, and then we have a legend here about which of the records are what state. So that's a pretty useful chart. Again, we have stack column, which is the same thing but vertical. We could do a line graph, which isn't particularly useful for this information. We do a donut, funnel, etc. What is useful about this is later on when you do dashboards, you will need to have at least a summary report, and then you can pull this information into a dashboard. So I'm kind of good with all this. I'm going to click save, and I'm going to click run just to make sure I get all the records pulled in. And you'll also see that the chart has now been added to the report. So the nice thing about this is when you share it with somebody or someone else has access to the report, instead of them having to troll through the report and go, okay, I have 2 records of this, 2 of that, they can see what we would call a snapshot up top, and they kind of have a breakdown of what's going on in the report. Then they can also go in and go further information. So they know that there's 7 records here that are customer direct, and we know that one is Arizona, one is Illinois, etc. But then they can go down here and say that the one from Arizona is the University of Arizona, the one from Illinois is Grand Hotels and Resorts Limited, etc., and all the other information that we've added here. So that's a summary report, and I hope that's helpful.